Long ago, in the land of Kaobang, there lived a Tay man named Song. He was known for his intelligence and talent, but he was extremely lazy. Despite his parents' dedicated efforts to teach and guide him, Sung preferred wandering around and refused to work. One day, he participated in a village festival and managed to shoot down a rare bird. As a reward, the king granted him a prize and arranged his marriage to a beautiful and virtuous girl. On the wedding day, his in-laws instructed him that after the wedding night, upon hearing the rooster crow for the third time, he must immediately return to his mother's home to perform the ancestral rites. However, caught up in the joy and indulgence of the lavish banquet, he forgot their advice. When he finally came to his senses and heard the rooster crowing for the third time, he panicked and rushed home, but it was too late. As he ran and cried along the way, the sky suddenly darkened and a violent storm arose. When he reached a deep valley, the ground began to shake and collapsed, forming a large lake. Sung was swept away by the water and disappeared forever. The local people named the lake Thang Hen, which means bee's tail in the Tay language because its shape resembles a bee's tail. The meaning of the story, the legend of Thang Hen Lake, conveys a message about responsibility and the consequences of laziness and carelessness. It also explains the origin of Thang Hen Lake, one of Saobang's most famous natural landmarks, known for its majestic scenery and a system of 36 interconnected large and small lakes. Long ago, in a village of the Tainung people in Saobang, there lived a poor but kind-hearted and hard-working young man. He fell in love with a beautiful and virtuous girl. Sadly, she was forced to marry a wealthy but cruel landlord. On the night before the wedding, overwhelmed with sorrow, the girl ran into the forest and wept. An old mysterious woman appeared and, after hearing her story, gave her a magical leaf and said, "If you truly love that young man and do not wish to marry the landlord, boil this leaf and drink the water. It will set you free." The girl followed her instructions. As soon as she drank the potion, her body felt light and she transformed into a red caterpillar, crawling along the treetops in the forest. Since then, locals believe that the red caterpillar is the reincarnation of the heartbroken girl, symbolizing tragic fate and unfulfilled love. The meaning of the story, and a reminder of the tragic fate of young women forced into marriage under the old feudal system, an explanation of the origin of the red caterpillar, a common insect in the mountainous region of Saobang, and reflects the belief in reincarnation, that even in suffering, the soul continues to exist in nature. Once upon a time, there was a kind and beautiful girl who lost her mother at a young age. Her father remarried and had another daughter with his new wife. The stepmother adored her own child but treated her stepdaughter cruelly. Every day, the girl was forced to do all the housework, while her younger sister did nothing but eat and play. One day, their father went to the market and bought 2 birds, a black crow for the elder daughter and a beautiful peacock for the younger. Despite being treated unfairly, the elder girl cared deeply for her crow. She secretly fed it from her own meager meals. Grateful, the crow brought her precious jewels each day. The stepmother and her daughter grew jealous. One day, they tricked the girl into going far away and killed the crow. Before it died, the crow told her to gather its bones and bury them under a banyan tree. From the ashes of the crow, a giant banyan tree grew. During the village festival, the girl climbed the tree to secretly watch the celebration. Just then, a prince passed by and caught sight of her reflection in the stream. Captivated by her beauty, he instantly fell in love. With the help of small birds in the forest, the girl received a stunning dress and came to the festival, winning the prince's heart. But her stepmother and stepsister, full of envy, plotted against her and pushed her into the river. She transformed into a magpie, returning to her husband's garden, singing sorrowfully each day. After many trials, the prince discovered the truth, restored her to human form, and punished the wicked stepmother and stepsister. The meaning of the story, Oneid criticizes the cruelty, selfishness, and deceitfulness of the greedy, and highlights the virtues of filial piety, patience, and kindness, reflects the Tay, Nung belief in reincarnation, that humans can be reborn as birds or trees in nature. Long ago, there lived a poor but kind-hearted couple who, for many years, could not have children. One night, the wife dreamt that a divine spirit granted her a son. Soon after, she became pregnant and gave birth to a boy named Taksan. Tragically, both parents passed away before the boy could grow up, leaving him to live alone under a banyan tree. At that time, a monstrous ogre called Chantin terrorized the region. It was a man-eating beast, and every year the villagers had to sacrifice a girl to it to appease its hunger. One day, it was the princess's turn to be offered to the Chantin. Upon hearing this, Taksan took his magical axe and went to the creature's lair. When Chantin appeared, it roared fiercely and breathed fire, but Taksan, with courage and divine strength, fought valiantly and slayed the beast. After its death, Chantin revealed its true form, a terrifying giant with razor-sharp claws and glowing red eyes. Despite his heroic deed, Taksan returned quietly to his banyan tree, not seeking fame or reward. But a cunning man named Lithong deceived him, stole credit for killing the monster, and was rewarded by the king, who made him royal son-in-law. Taksan later faced many more challenges, such as battling a giant eagle to rescue the princess and being falsely accused. Yet through resilience and righteousness, he was eventually vindicated and recognized as a true hero. The meaning of the story celebrates bravery, compassion, and justice, and criticizes the wickedness and greed of deceitful people like Lithong, and reflects the people's belief in justice, that good will always triumph over evil. Long ago, in the forested mountains of Khao Bang, a great river flowed, winding its way around the villages. The people lived peacefully by its banks, though they often spoke in hushed tones about a mysterious creature said to dwell beneath the waters, the Thung Luong. The tale begins with a young man named Lang, the son of a poor farming family. He was tall, strong, and an excellent swimmer. One day, while bathing in a deep part of the river, Lang was suddenly swept away by a powerful whirlpool. When he regained consciousness, he found himself in a magnificent underwater palace. There, a beautiful mermaid told him he had been chosen to become king of the aquatic realm. Over time, Lang's body began to change. His skin sprouted scales, his limbs grew longer, and he transformed into a Thuong Luang, a mighty water dragon. Though frightened at first, Lang gradually accepted his new identity. With his strength, he protected the villagers from floods, regulated the river's flow, and rescued those in danger. Grateful, the people built a shrine on the riverbank to honor him and pray for gentle rains and peaceful seasons. But not everyone understood the truth. One day, a group of hunters spotted the Thuong Luong swimming near the shore. Mistaking him for a man-eating monster, they spread fearful rumors. Alarmed, the villagers began offering sacrifices, hoping to avoid disaster. Lang, heartbroken, could not reveal his true identity. Silently, he continued to watch over and protect the land he loved. The meaning of the story? The story explains the appearance of the Thuong Luong in Te Nung folk beliefs. It reflects the belief in a spiritual world where humans can transform into mythical creatures. It reminds us of misunderstandings and the loneliness of those who are ostracized, even though they only wish to help others. In Sao Bang, many large rivers, such as the Bang River and the Gam River, are associated with the legend of the Thuong Luong. The people believe that the Thuong Luong is the river god, capable of bringing luck or causing natural disasters if offended. A long time ago, in a high mountain region of Khao Bang, there was a very strange cave. Unlike other caves whose entrances are on the ground, this cave's mouth faced the sky, resembling an upside-down tunnel. The people in the area called it the Upside-Down Cave. It is said that, long ago, there was a poor but kind-hearted woodcutter named Lai Fong. One day, while in the forest, he accidentally saved a wounded bird. Unexpectedly, the bird was the transformed form of a fairy who had been cast down to the mortal world. Moved by his kindness, the fairy stayed with him, and the two became husband and wife. Thanks to her, Lai Feng's life became prosperous and happy. However, their happiness did not last long. One day, the gods in heaven discovered that the fairy had disobeyed their command and ordered her to return to the heavenly realm. When the heavenly soldiers arrived, the fairy tried to flee but could not escape. Before being taken away, she sorrowfully told him, "If you still love me, go to the upside-down cave, where the two worlds meet." After speaking these words, she was swept up to the sky, leaving only a swirl of white smoke around the mountain walls. Devastated, the woodcutter went to the place the fairy had pointed to. Upon reaching the mountain's cliff, he saw a large cave opening toward the sky, like a path leading to the realm of the gods. Believing that this was the only way to reunite with his wife, he climbed up but was unable to reach the destination. In the end, he transformed into a rock at the entrance of the cave, forever waiting for his beloved wife. The meaning of the story: it explains the origin of the upside-down cave, a cave with an unusual direction in the Saobang Mountains. It praises loyalty and love and the belief in a fairy tale world. It reflects the longing to transcend the boundaries between humans and gods, a common theme in Tay, Nung folk tales. Today, many mountainous regions in Saobang still have caves that the locals believe are upside-down caves, associated with the story of love and waiting. Long ago, in a highland village, there lived two orphan brothers who depended on each other. The older brother was hard-working and loved his younger brother like his own child. The younger brother was playful, lazy, and often disobeyed his elder brother. One year, a drought caused famine, and the older brother became very weak and thin. Before he died, he told his brother, "When I die, do not bury me in the ground. Wrap me in an old mat and hang me in the attic above the kitchen. Something miraculous will happen later." The younger brother, loving his elder dearly, followed his instructions. Each day, he climbed to the attic to light incense for his brother, his tears falling heavily. One night, heavy rain began to fall. Suddenly, a strange light appeared from the mat, and the brother's body vanished. In its place was a bundle of golden rice, radiating a rich, fragrant scent. The younger brother brought it to the fields and sowed it. From then on, the village had rice to eat year-round and no longer suffered hunger. The villagers, hearing the story, reminded each other to live well, work hard, and uphold the tradition of ancestor worship. Since then, the mat hanging in the attic has symbolized filial piety and the miracles of the departed. The meaning of the story emphasizes sibling love, filial devotion, and honoring the words of the deceased, and explains the Tay custom of hanging old mats in the kitchen attic as a way to remember ancestors, and carries a mystical tone, reflecting the belief in connection between the living and the dead in Tay culture. Long ago, in the land now known as Bakan, there was a small village nestled in a valley surrounded by majestic mountains. The villagers lived kindly, farming on hillsides and fishing, enjoying a peaceful life. One year, during the temple festival, a skinny, dirty, ragged old beggar woman came asking for food. Many people saw her ugly and foul-smelling, so they drove her away and mocked her. Only a poor widow and her daughter at the end of the village showed kindness, inviting her home for a meal and a place to sleep. That night, the old woman revealed her true form, a giant snake curled up in the kitchen corner. The mother and daughter were terrified, but the old woman appeared in a dream and said, "I am the dragon, mother. A great disaster will come tomorrow. Quickly build a bamboo raft, prepare rice and food, and when the earth shakes and the sky darkens, row to the mountain to escape." The next day, the sky darkened, storms raged, and a great flood struck. The ground split open, water gushed up violently, engulfing the entire village. People and houses were swept away by the floodwaters. Only the mother and daughter on their bamboo raft survived, drifting into a vast valley. After the flood, the old village site became a vast, clear lake surrounded by rocky mountains. Since it was where three major streams converged, the lake was named Ba-Bi Lake, three lakes joined into one. The meaning of the story teaches compassion. Those who are kind and caring will be protected by nature, and criticizes apathy and selfishness, especially toward the vulnerable. Explains the formation of Ba-Bi Lake, the largest natural freshwater lake in northern Vietnam, and next connects with the folk beliefs of the Tay, Nung people about the Dragon Mother, the water spirit who protects the good. Once upon a time, in a highland village, there was a young man named Lung who was honest but very foolish. One day his mother said, "Go to the market and buy me a needle." He asked, "The needle is so tiny, how do I carry it without losing it?" His mother said, "Thread it into your sleeve and bring it home." Following her instructions, Lung went to the market, bought the needle, threaded it into his sleeve, and tied it tight with thread. On the way home, he tripped and fell. The needle pierced through his sleeve and into his skin. Ouch! He returned home crying, "You told me to put it in my sleeve, why did it stab me?" His mother burst out laughing. "Heavens! If you go buy a knife tomorrow, don't put it in your sleeve." The next day, his mother asked him to buy some pork, and reminded, "Carry it in your hands this time, not like yesterday." This time, he was smarter. After buying the meat, he carried it by hand uncovered, but as he crossed a muddy field, he slipped and dropped it. He returned home empty-handed and said, "I carried it by hand like you said, but it still fell." His mother laughed until her belly hurt. "Oh dear, if you can't get any smarter, at least get married soon so I can rest easy." The meaning of the story, and reflects the innocence and honesty of Highland people, with a touch of humor and familial love, and carries the rustic charm of traditional Tay, Nung folk tales, a light-hearted entertainment with a lesson about not taking instructions too literally. Once upon a time, in a Highland village, there lived a young man named Lang, who was honest but quite simple-minded. His family was very poor and owned only one old horse, used for farming and carrying firewood. One day his mother said, "Take the horse to the market to sell it. If you get a good price, sell it, but keep the rope. We still need it to tie the horse." Lang obeyed and led the horse to the market. Someone came to ask, "How much for the horse?" Lang replied, "Pay what you think it's worth. I'm only selling the horse, not the rope." The buyer found it strange, chuckled, and offered a very low price. Lang didn't mind, as long as he got some money. After handing over the horse, he carefully untied the rope and walked home with just the rope, muttering, "The horse is gone, but I kept the rope. Mom will praise me for being smart." When he got home, his mother asked, "How much did you sell it for?" Lang proudly said, "I got some money, and I still have the rope." His mother looked at the rope in his hands, held her head and cried out, "Oh my goodness, you sold the whole horse like you were trading it for a rope. How can my son be this smart?" The meaning of the story, a satire on the naivety and literal of some honest rural folks, makes us laugh and cry at the logic. Keeping the rope means profit, but in reality it's a big loss. A reminder, in anything we do, we need to understand instructions clearly and think things through, not follow words blindly. Long ago, the mountainous forests of Tuae Bang and Bac Can were still wild, with dry land and only tiny streams. People suffered due to the lack of water, their fields were parched, and rice and corn wouldn't grow. In the heavens, there was a god named Po Na Nam, meaning the water god, who felt pity seeing the people's hardships. He asked heaven for permission to descend to earth and find a way to release water sources for the villages. On earth, he took the form of a young man in indigo clothes and lived like a regular person. Each day, he went into the forest to chop trees, dig soil, and redirect streams, creating great water flows and forming endless streams trickling through the vast mountains. Thanks to this, rice grew abundantly, fish filled the streams, and laughter echoed throughout the village. The tale begins with a young man named Lang, the son of a poor farming family. He was tall, strong, and an excellent swimmer, One day, while bathing in a deep part of the river, Lang was suddenly swept away by a powerful whirlpool. The Tay, Nung people passed down a folk verse, Ponanam came to the village. A sacred stream sprang from the mountain. The meaning of the story explains the origin of mountain streams and the fertility of highland lands. Honors the water god, a key deity in Tay, Nung belief systems, associated with farming, rain, and seasons, and reflects people's gratitude toward nature and the heavens. Tied to traditional festivals, rain prayers, forest and stream rituals, hallmarks of highland culture. Long ago, in the area of Trungkhan, Kaobang today, there was a dry land, lacking water throughout the year. The people suffered from drought and their crops failed. Beneath the water realm lived a princess, the daughter of the Dragon King, the deity who ruled the underwater world. She was gentle and compassionate, often sneaking up to the human world to enjoy folk songs, traditional dances with the ken, a bamboo instrument, and admire the majestic mountains and forests. One day, she met a handsome and talented Tay man who played the ken as sweetly as pouring honey. The two fell deeply in love, but when the Dragon King discovered the affair, he became furious and forced his daughter back to the underwater palace, imprisoning her in a deep cave beneath the sea. The princess cried endlessly. Her tears flowed into streams that rushed through the Rocky Mountains, forming a white cascading waterfall amidst the jungle. That waterfall became what is now known as Thác Ban Geoc, one of the most beautiful waterfalls in Vietnam today. Locals say that on moonlit nights, one can still hear the sorrowful cries echoing from the heart of the waterfall, like the voice of the princess calling for her beloved. The meaning of the story explains the origin of Ban Geoc waterfall, associated with faithful love and the pain of separation, and it reflects the spiritual life and mythical worldview of the Tay, Nung culture. It shows the deep bond between nature and humanity, between love and legend. Expresses the poetic and majestic beauty of the Sao Bang mountain region. Long ago, on the highest peak of Phja mountain in Sao Bang, there was a majestic mountain god named Po Lung. He ruled over the wind, clouds, thunder, and protected all creatures. One day, Po Lung met the White Cloud Maiden, a fairy who lived in the heavens and would often descend to the mortal world in the spring to enjoy the scenery. She was slender, dressed in white like mist, and her voice was soft like the forest wind. They fell deeply in love with each other. However, because she was a fairy from the heavens, and he was the god of the mountains, their love was forbidden by the heavens. One moonlit night, they escaped from the heavens and went to the peak of Phja, where they lived together in a cave halfway through the clouds. The heavens grew angry and sent storms and thunder to strike the mountain peak. However, their love was so strong that the white cloud still embraced the green mountain, protecting each other. Since then, the peak of Phja has been shrouded in mist year-round, as if the White Cloud Maiden is still entwined with the mountain god, never to part. People who go into the forest often say, "The cloud does not leave the mountain, and the mountain does not leave the cloud." That is love turned into mist, covering the peak of Phja year-round. The meaning of the story explains the natural phenomenon, why the peak of Phja is always covered in mist and clouds year-round, and praises faithful love that transcends the boundaries of heaven and earth. Reflects the belief of the people in Sao Bang about the spiritual energy of mountains and forests and the connection between humans and nature. Long ago, in a small village at the foot of a high mountain, lived a poor family who earned their living by gathering medicinal herbs. They had 3 daughters, but the youngest was the kindest and most gentle. She was also the best at finding healing leaves to cure illnesses for the villagers. Whenever someone fell ill, they would come to her, and she would give them herbs to boil into medicine, helping them recover. The youngest daughter especially cared for the poor and never asked for payment. Whenever she heard of someone sick, she would go into the forest and climb mountains to search for the right leaves. The villagers affectionately called her Forest Healer Maiden. One year, a strange disease spread throughout the village. Day and night, the youngest daughter traveled around to save people, forgetting to eat or rest. Eventually, she too became sick and gradually grew weaker. Knowing she would not survive, she told her parents, "If I die, please bury me at the foot of the mountain, where the wind blows and sunlight shines. I will become a healing plant to help people." Her parents honored her last wish. A few months later, from her grave grew a strange plant with deep green leaves and a special fragrance. When boiled, the plant could relieve colds, reduce fever, ease stomachaches, and drive away evil spirits. The villagers named it Khao Kut, meaning the leaf of the youngest daughter. Since then, whenever the Tay people go into the forest to gather medicine, they tell the story of Nang Ut, the girl who became a sacred herb, living forever in the deep forest to protect her people. The meaning of the story and explains the origin of the medicinal plant mugwort, Khao Kut, and honors the selfless healing spirit of the Tay people. Reflects the bond between humans, nature, and spirituality in folk culture. Once upon a time, when heaven and earth were still close together, people did not know how to plow fields, perform the then rituals, or worship their ancestors. At the highest place in the heavens, there lived a talented and intelligent deity named then Ken Lao. Then Ken Lao was the son of Mother Then, entrusted with managing the connection between heaven and earth. He rode a cloud horse, wore an indigo robe, and carried a tin tao, a traditional lute, on his back. Whenever he plucked the strings, the sound echoed through the mountains and forests. Seeing that people on earth were suffering from hunger, illness, and chaos, and did not know how to honor their ancestors, Mother Then took pity and sent then Ken Lao down to help. Then Ken Lao came to the villages and taught the people how to plow fields, grow rice, catch fish, store water, and build stilt houses. He also taught them how to perform the then ritual, sing then songs, play the tin lute, wear sacred hats and traditional indigo robes. He opened the path for humans to send their prayers to the heavens. Whenever a household faced misfortune, they only needed to perform the then ritual, invite a Mo spiritual master to play the tin and sing ancient then songs, and then Ken Lao would hear them and bring blessings. After teaching all the good and righteous things, then Ken Lao transformed and returned to the heavens. Grateful for his teachings, the Tay people set up then altars, called him Father Then, and hold the solemn then festival every year, singing then songs through day and night to honor the one who opened the way between heaven and earth. The meaning of the story, when praises then Ken Lao as a cultural hero and spiritual bridge between humans and the divine, explains the origin of the then ritual, a unique feature of Tay belief, conveys a philosophy of living in harmony with the universe, valuing tradition, and promoting goodness.